Hi, I'm John McAuliffe, Chief Marketing Officer of VFM Leonardo, and welcome to the VTV channel. VTV is a weekly series of interviews with industry experts on the latest topics in travel e-business and online merchandising practices that help hoteliers extract more value out of their online presence. Feel free to email us at vtv@vfmleonardo.com to suggest topics that you would like us to cover in future episodes. Today, I'm joined by Glenn Haussman, Hotel Interactive's Editor-in-Chief and host of a series of on-demand radio shows. Glenn is also a frequent moderator and speaker at leading travel industry events, and as an adjunct professor at New York University, Glenn teaches classes in consumer behavior and public relations and advertising. Glenn, welcome to VTV and thank you for joining us today.
Great, thanks for having me.
Glenn, our topic today is all about local community. And it seems to be a topic that the online world is talking a lot about these days and really marketing at a more local level. In our conversations, you have said that hoteliers really are not doing enough to get business from their local community or their neighborhood.
Right, that's for sure.
Why do hoteliers need to do more in their local communities?
Easy pickings. I mean, you've got a built-in base of people there that see your brand on a daily basis. They're driving by on their way to work. You should be figuring out ways to communicate with the people in your community. Even if they're not going to be staying in your hotel, their in-laws are going to be coming in and they're going to need a place to stay from time to time. So it's really critical to try to engender some sort of loyalty amongst your local base. And if you have a full-service hotel, well, it is an absolute must.
Right, so that's an interesting concept, is actually using your local community as almost the word of mouth, if you will, for the advertising of your hotel.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got to get in there. You've got to get involved on all levels within your community. We all want to do business with the people that we're friends with, right? So it's up to the general manager and the owner of the property to make as many friends as possible within their community any way that they possibly can.
Right, and given that most of the travel shopping journey is spent online, in fact, a recent article that I read said 85% of some form of research or purchase of hotels is done online. How can a hotel use the internet to endear themselves to their local communities?
Well, I think that you need to figure out a way to become a place for the local community to come to you. I mean, you hold a lot of events if you're a full-service hotel, for example, that are locally based events. Why not try to create a connection to those guests? You've got to absolutely these days, of course, have like a Facebook page, and you could really talk about all of the things that are going on in your hotel to draw in people in the community. If you've got a restaurant or a bar, you should try to be communicating with them via the Facebook, via Twitter, even some of the newer offerings that are out there in order to get them to come in. You could offer them opportunities, buy one, get one free drink specials to get them in, specials for locals only, things that will really get them to understand that you're a destination in and of itself.
Right. So let's talk about that a little bit. What types of things, if I were a hotel in a particular community, what are 3 or 5 things that I could do to draw my local community into my hotel?
All right. Number one, are you on any town committees? That's a number one. I'm not saying run for mayor, but you got to become friends with the mayor of your town. You've got to really become engaged in there. Perhaps you've got a chapter of the local Kiwanis Club or some sort of equivalent. Why not talk to the guys that run that and offer them a room occasionally for free so that they could meet? By not nickel and diming on that, you're going to engender their loyalty. Let's see, what else can you do for locals? You got to do charitable events. You can host charitable events that are for the benefit of the community. You've got this great piece of infrastructure in your hotel, and there are a lot of ways to get people to use that as the town center. But it's all about creating events and activities and specials that have those people come there. You want to create top-of-mind awareness in your community, so if anyone ever says, hey, do you know a hotel in your town I should stay at? Bam, your hotel is the one that's at the top of that person's list.
Right, and I want to take a step back again to the internet. And is there a way of using that community in itself to help communicate this to people outside of that community?
I think that's where the Facebook page, for example, comes in handy, and the Twitter. It's a really great way for you guys to create a relationship with guests on an individualized basis. You know, when you're talking to people on the internet, you've got to talk to them as if you're in the room with them. And you've got to strike up individual relationships from time to time with people. One of the problems that hoteliers have is they're just not investing the time and effort into a lot of these practices and procedures. It's so new to them, they're scared of them, so they're ignoring them. So you got to get out there and create that, create that online awareness that people are going to start to come to your site for news and information about that community.
You know, given that travel shopper is going to a lot of different websites before they make a decision on what hotel they want to stay at, how do I propagate that across the internet? How do I get that community feel that I've developed and spent time on out to those people?
Yeah, I mean, that's really where it comes down to developing that one-on-one relationships with people. You've got to try to make an emotional connection with your potential guests. If you don't do that, then you're going to be fighting that pricing game. But when you can crack that code and really get to understand what each individual consumer is looking for and be able to find a way to make your hotel their happy place, then they're not going to start to look at other people. They might be the first time they come to that town, but after you get them in the door, then you can start to have that one-on-one kind of connection with them, really understand who they are, and maybe even start to deliver them opportunities that are geared specifically towards their needs. Today's consumer is a real fickle beast, and even though there are over 1 million room nights sold every single day here in the United States, everybody wants to be treated like an individual. And if you can figure out ways in your hotel, once they get in the door, to find out about them, know who they are, and then utilize the internet in order to propagate that relationship, then I think it's going to be really a win-win for the owner and the guest.
Right. So who's doing a good job of this? What have you seen any hotels that are effectively targeting their local communities?
Yeah, I haven't really seen a lot of hotels doing a great job, although I hate to talk about Las Vegas over and over again these days, but their locals-focused casinos do a really great job at pulling in people because they really understand the nature that they are a community gathering place. In Las Vegas, everybody's got their home casino, which is in like 2 or 3 miles of their particular house. So what the casinos have done is they've created an array of services, amenities, and then they push out deals and specials to those particular people that live within that community. Now, obviously, your hotel is not going to have those quite as many amenities, but if you've got a particular restaurant that you think is pretty good, well, then you should really be working on trying to promote that to the local community as well, and keep figuring out new ways to get people to come back to your property. That's really the only way to do it. Most hotels have a great opportunity to move forward on this now because no one has really figured out the secret formula in order to make this local marketing a true internet success.
Right, certainly, and Las Vegas isn't what normally would come to mind as a community in our trading area, but it's a good example.
Because we forget about it, because we think about the big guys on the Strip.
Yep.
There are many dozens of casinos that are off the Strip that the typical traveler would never ever go to. For example, Green Valley Ranch and Red Rocks casinos. They're not places that typically tourists go to. People are either going there on conventions or they're attracting a specifically local audience. So looking at how those hotels are doing things, I think are really a good mirror for how you can see what you're doing.
Right. So that begs the question, can a hotel do both? Can they endear themselves to their local community and also be that traveler hotel or destination or leisure hotel for people that are not part of that community?
They absolutely can. And I think that part of the problem that's going on here is that local hoteliers forget about their local community. They're just ignoring it. They're just not really thinking of it. They're doing things the same they've been doing for the last 15, 20 years. They've got the sales executives that go out and they have meetings with people, and it doesn't really turn into as much as they could. So I think that really reevaluating what your efforts are on a local level are going to do a really big deal in terms of changing what's happening in your property. They're just not focusing enough on it. They think they are, but they're focusing on it in the wrong ways and not the correct ways. Shift a lot. I would say you got to shift some of the time and effort for what your hotel people are doing on doing random sales calls into creating that online community for people to relate to your hotel brand. Most hotels don't have the confidence in it, so the end result is they don't really have somebody that's spearheading their online efforts or their social media efforts. It kind of falls between the cracks.
Right. So it sounds like you're a proponent of perhaps rebalancing the time spent by your salespeople on sales calls versus creating community events within your hotel.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the problem is a lot of the hotel professionals that have come on board, remember, they started their job when the hotel industry was going up, up, up. So the end result is you got a lot of soft people who just sat back and answered the phone. They didn't really have to get aggressive and be creative and find new ways in order to connect with their potential audience. This downturn is a really great opportunity for hoteliers to really separate themselves from the others out there. And if you don't spend all of your time just going from meeting to meeting and rethinking how you're using your time, I think you're going to really be more effective.
Glenn, again, thank you very much for joining us on VTV and sharing your insights with us today.
Great. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate your time.
To all the viewers out there, be sure to post your comments on this episode of VTV and subscribe to our feed to receive more valuable insights from industry experts.